Hey, everybody, it's Paris Prokopis. Welcome to the Paris Prokopis Show. Thank you for the applause. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. All right. Okay, that's enough of that. All right. It's Wednesday night, and I'm doing my show. Tonight, I just want to talk about, there's obviously always news going on and everything like that, but the big thing that happened today was that it was the end of an era. We had the passing of Rush Limbaugh, which, we all have our stories, whether people liked him or not. He had a huge impact on the way information was transmitted and communicated, et cetera, et cetera. He started his life out as a humble sportscaster on the radio and not making very much money at all. And he ended up captivating an audience by finding a niche that allowed him to grow. And he did very well for himself. And he also helped launch others. And the reason why I want to talk about him, he was also kind of an inspiration for people like me to go and give it a shot. And tonight I'll have a guest join the show as well. But yeah, it's humbling. It's sad. I got to meet him once a long time ago, and it was in passing, and it was just one of those things. Everybody's like, Rush. And I didn't feel right to say, hey, can I get my picture with you? I wish I had a chance to get my picture with him, but so be it. He will definitely be missed, but his impact will be felt probably for generations. So let's welcome to the show, Mr. Ed Delgato. How you doing?
I am outstanding. How about yourself, good sir?
Pretty good. Are you connected to your main microphone?
Should be. Are we not here coming across correct?
Well, you're always correct, but it's yeah, you're getting a lot of room echo. Usually, you don't have that kind of reverb happening. So I'm wondering if your microphone isn't, if you're picking up like the computer mic or something. But anyway, there's something neither here nor there.
Yeah, try something here.
So
maybe that'll work a little better. All right. I hope.
You hope. Yeah. So it was, obviously you and I kind of got our start together, and then we kind of slowed down, then we picked up again, and then, just ebbs and flows and stuff like that. But, in the back of our minds, I'm sure it was a bit back of my mind for sure, was definitely the impact that Rush Limbaugh had on everything that was going on and the inspiration and everything. Like, you could do this.
Yep. And it's interesting because I think Limbaugh leaves such a huge void out here. And I don't want to dive right into this just yet, but he was certainly a pillar of the conservative movement. And I think that's a good and a bad thing, because he was just he was a larger than life personality. He was somebody that, when you talk about making something happen, you have a focus, visualizing your head that's going to happen. We got an O.
Oh, the system.
Oh. Paris is chopping in and out.
There we go. Okay, now we're good.
There we go.
Sorry about that.
But what you have with him is somebody who visualized success, and he made it happen. And I think that's such an incredible role model to have, and it launched a whole new industry. From talk radio to even to present day podcasting.
Oh, absolutely. He was like the influence of everything regarding that. I mean, everything from Sean Hannity to, little Ed Delgato in north central Wisconsin, or, Paris Prokopis, a strange Greek guy out there, and that type of thing. I struggle. And then I look back and I think back. I love you to tell your story too. The very first time I heard Rush Limbaugh, and I remember very specifically, I was in the car, and this was 1992. And of course, at that point, I was a very strong Ross Perot supporter, and not necessarily a libertarian or anything like that, but I just loved Ross Perot. I loved the
Right.
whole idea. Loved the idea of a businessman, larger than life figure who had a very captivating type of personality that captivated an audience. Sound familiar? But
Yeah, it does.
yeah. So, and I was supporting him, and then and here I was. I'm going through my stations, and I turn on WISN, and I hear the song "When Johnny Comes Marching Home Again, Hurrah, Hurrah," and it was like, then all of a sudden this guy starts talking about the man running for president who is not part of either party, because what would happen is that every time he would mention the name Ross Perot, his producer would start playing that song. So he had always referred to him as a man running for of neither party. And I started seeing things in it. And I was struggling because I was clearly, I loved Reagan. I voted for Bush in 1998. And I was struggling, but I ended up voting for Ross Perot at the end. And Ross Perot had dropped out of the race and came back in, and the rest is history. But that's my first ever experience, and that was around the time when all these restaurants were starting to have, remember them, the Rush Rooms, where they would have Rush Limbaugh up in the air from the noon hour, so people can eat lunch and listen to Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah, that's right. And wasn't that around the time he had his TV show too?
Yeah, he had his TV show back at that point as well.
Right.
Came on like 10 o'clock at night.
Could you imagine going to a bar, sitting there having cocktails, and then just watching Rush Limbaugh as you're having cocktails?
Yeah. See, this is Ricky Maupin. Yeah, Ricky, where are you located, and where did you when were you doing this? Because that was a big thing. That was happening all over nationwide, and I think that really helped give Rush Limbaugh that growth. That's funny. I was just talking about that. I didn't see that. Hello, Mr. King. How you doing? Got Christine Klug. By the way, Christine, congratulations on making it to the next round for your school board run. So anyway, so tell me, what was the first time you ever listened to Rush Limbaugh?
And it's funny because I think we all probably, like you said, we all have that story. We all have that kind of coming to Limbaugh type of thing. And I remember when I was, this had to have been like 95, 96. Now, like yourself, I grew up, in the Reagan era. And to me, Reagan was he was a sign of strength. But growing up in the, teen and 20s, and you had George H.W. Bush, was H.W.? Yeah. But anyway, 43. I always get the initials confused. But
yeah, 43 is W.
W, okay. Mm-hmm. So the Iraq thing was very off-putting to me. And I remember going to Marquette University at 91, 92. And boy, I tell you, man, peer pressure can be So I kind of started leaning really left, just that whole Democrats good, Republicans bad. And I remember around 96, I wanted to start to I wanted to understand the mindset of Republicans. I wanted to understand the mindset of conservatives. Because if you're going to have opposition, it really helps to understand where they're coming from. So I made it a point to start listening to Rush Limbaugh. Man, first time I listened, the voice, captivating, the storytelling drew you in, the way he broke down topics. And initially I was like, you always want to fight back against something because you want to believe that what you have in your head is right. But the more I started listening to him, the more it started to make sense. And it was funny because from that point on, I started reading his books. I started reading other books. I started really kind of boning up on other things historically, economically, just trying to get a better understanding of these things that Limbaugh was talking about in current day 1996 that I didn't have the understanding of prior to that. And were it not for him in the introduction of these topics, of the introducing of the idea that because oftentimes he talked about conservatives being happy and liberals always being upset and just angry at the world. And the more I kind of took myself out of it, the more I started seeing that. And it was like, well, there's a lot of stuff to be angry about, but I don't want to be angry 24/7. So that was kind of like my first, run in with Limbaugh. And ever since then, it was like, it's a staple of the afternoon drive time if you have the chance.
Whoa, I just heard a bing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now, Robin, of course, has to post something that makes us feel old. When I was a kid, when my dad was at work. Thanks, Robin. So anyway, he would play in a room. Oh, and Paul Harvey. Yeah, I love Paul Harvey. Good day. I love the rest of the story. We got Stephanie in the house. All right. David King says hello. Stephanie says hey. Christine says
thank you. Here tonight.
Yeah, we got a lot of people watching, but yeah, it's. I don't know. I struggled with this today because we all knew it was coming. I actually was surprised because I heard about his show just before Christmas. It was on December 24th or whatever. And I was like, wow, I wonder if he's not coming back on anymore. So I went back and I listened to the review because I was a member of Rush 24/7 and all that stuff. And I listened to his show and I literally I got teary-eyed because it kind of I grew up with this guy. Yeah, I grew up with this guy because I was like 18, 19 at the time. No, I was 22. Yeah, I was still a kid at that point. I was still working I was going to school at Marquette. I'm surprised. I think I probably almost ran over you on the street. But
more than likely.
Yeah, I'm forever a warrior though. But I went to I was working at the local Kinko's Copies. I was a copy jockey. And
I remember that store.
I could reproduce, man. I was the best reproducer ever.
Even to this day.
Yeah, but it just no, not anymore. I retired my number. Yeah, it's just, and you also have this. All right, we got a Warriors Forever. Thank you, Mark Dempsey. And Mark, I need to let you know I'm making my escape from Wauwatosa. More to come on that. I'm leaving Tosa after 20 some years. Yep, time to go. So,
Hilario had made his triumphant return.
Oh, Hilario, triumphant return. Oh, geez. And then you reproducer. Yes. Thank you, Shell. All right. Here we go. I was working in DC in 1988. I didn't know you used to work in DC. We'll have to talk about that sometime, Darlene. Rush for the first time. Rush was a huge Reagan fan. Absolutely. Listened to him everywhere. I lived throughout these years. And it's kind of interesting. And then, the fact that we have our own Milwaukee connection to Rush Limbaugh. Because Mark Belling, I don't know if you get Mark Belling up in Oshkosh.
Yep, up in that area, we can get him.
Yeah, but because Mark Belling hosted his show. I was kind of in the back of my mind at wondering who Rush will pick, and it'll be interesting. But I saw something very interesting today on Newsmax. I was watching a Newsmax interview, and they asked this individual, Rush Limbaugh was this larger than life figure. He probably needs to be succeeded by another larger than life figure. Would you ever consider hosting his show? And this individual said he's heard it before, but he never considered it before. And I'm speaking of none other than Donald John Trump. I think he should guest host just once, just for the heck of it, because Rush Limbaugh still has millions of listeners all throughout the world, actually.
Well, and I think that, it would be great to see Donald Trump as a guest host on here. But I don't think, when we talk about succession on who's going to fill the shoes of Rush Limbaugh, I don't think there's anybody that can. There's only one Rush Limbaugh, and that's it.
Well, it could be Paris Procopus. I'm available to. I can't broadcast live at 3:00 because I have a day job, but I'd be glad to do pre-recorded broadcasts. I'm not that way.
Well, this might be a good career change. I mean,
Yeah,
2021, anything's possible these days. But I got a question. It's been something that's actually been on my mind all day, and I've been wanting to get yours and several other people's thoughts on this. With the passing of Rush, and like I said earlier, he was a pillar of the conservative movement. As a matter of fact, you said it best. He's a larger than life personality. And I think he was such a pillar to such a great degree that his passing is going to leave a void that no one person is going to be able to fill. It's kind of reminiscent to me of one of these animated cartoons where, you got the superhero that's literally the pillar of society. He ends up being forced into retirement. Who's there to fill the gap? Nobody's strong enough. Where do you see that going, if that's even an accurate assessment on things going forward from today on?
It comes down to legacy. And I think part of the reason that Rush always had guest shows, I think he one day envisioned retiring and he needed to see who could succeed him. And I think the big name on the block that a lot of people are really dropping. I mean, it'd be fun to say Donald Trump and stuff like that, but Donald Trump is to be part of something he created, not something someone else created. Even Donald Trump, as not humble as he is, although he likes to brag, he tips his hat to Rush Limbaugh. Nobody can fill those shoes. But they're talking about Mark Stein. He's from Britain. He's a British citizen. It's kind of funny, but he calls himself the undocumented talk show host.
Well, he's from the EIB Central North Central Command, I believe that was, and the polar ice caps.
All right. Well, they've already got you subservient to me because they got you as a co-host.
Well, that's all right. That's all right. That'll give me an opportunity to, kind of delve into other venues, just.
Well, the Greeks are always, superior to everybody, I must say. Everybody wants to be Greek. But
his passing is going to be huge, though. I mean, and it's really a shame because there's so many people that have been so venomous, so they can't just let the day be what it is. And if you took a look on social media, I mean, it was just absolutely disgusting what I saw out there. The way that people were just celebrating his death.
People are so hateful, and you know what? Let's be honest here. The Democrats don't hold carte blanche to being complete assholes when it comes to the passing of an individual. I've seen this before with like I said, I was so bummed when Robin Williams died, and you had some people around like, oh, he was a liberal, so what? But, and then even when Joe Biden's son passed away, and I even said something like nobody should have to bury their child.
Mm-hmm.
And, that I felt for the guy. I didn't agree with the guy, but then you have people on the other side our side when Ruth Bader Ginsburg died. We got a new Supreme Court justice, but all they do is bitch and talk about how Rush Limbaugh was evil. He deserved to die. And there's this one picture of him smoking cigars, and no wonder he died. Right. Blah blah blah. And we've got to get beyond this tribalism. We got to let go of our ideology sometimes to embrace our humanity. And the left is always talking about we're all in the same human family, except unless you're a conservative.
Well, then that's when the dehumanization comes into play.
Yeah, but there are people on the right who are just as bad of jackwagons, but And even some on the right today, oh yeah, well he gave up on being a Republican because he supported Trump. It's like, shut up.
You mean Charlie Sykes?
Yeah, Charlie
God.
Sykes. Yeah, I'm gonna bring on another guest tonight too, another shy, quiet individual. So we're gonna get
quiet. Who's shy and quiet here?
We all are. And now to add to the shy quietness, I'm going to bring on our very own Pastor David King. Welcome to the show. Oh, I got to do the audio. There we go. We got to clap there. All right. Hey, welcome to the show. All right.
What's good, Brother King? What's good? How you doing?
All right, Brother Ed. How are you? Good to be on with you guys. Hey, Paris, I was just writing in and says, yeah, y'all co-host the show, and then I'll come on every now and then so they don't call y'all racist.
You'll be our old Bo Sturdley, right?
I know, right?
So what you're saying is that we're just going to call the show Token, and we're going to have a token black, a token Hispanic, and a token Greek.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
Cool. Sign me up. I'm in.
So how you been? We're David. Obviously, we're talking about I'm talking about Rush Limbaugh and the influence he's had on a lot of people and stuff like that. Do you remember the first time you ever heard of him or heard him?
Yeah, I when I first heard him talk, I think it was like when I first got around the start of the Tea Party. When I first heard him really start talking. Because I really wasn't dealing with politics before 2008, 2009. And I was like, this guy really speaks his mind. It was like, I thought I was the only one speaking my mind, and I'm sure he got a couple of death threats speaking his mind and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, he's my kind of guy, If you talk, you have a show, and nobody get mad at you for what you saying on your show, then I wonder if you really got a show.
It's kind of true.
Yeah.
If everybody is okay with your show and you don't ruffle no feathers, then you have a what I like to call a Wendy Williams show. You don't really have a show,
I tried watching her show once, and I was like, people actually watch the show and sponsors pay to be on this show? This is crazy because she has Oprah Winfrey knew how to give a show, and she was never controversial, but she had a way of delivering where this Williams doesn't. She's horrible.
Yeah. And so when you look at and one thing that I loved about him, is because he didn't care who he made mad. He would speak his mind. He would just say what was on his mind. And so, and I think that's, for those of us that are bold with that now, I think that's something that we push to make sure no matter who get upset, we tell the truth. And, and so just like Paris, did you watch my show I did on yesterday? Think About It Tuesday.
I did not see yesterday's show.
I put it on your page, man. Can you watch it?
I know. I haven't. I haven't even watched. I don't even know what's happening in news right now. All I knew is Rush Limbaugh died. I'm like, oh, so that's what I'm talking about today. So right. I'm gonna have to listen to your show. I haven't had a chance to. I'm in the process of getting ready to move and all that, and work and everything. It's just been busy.
Okay,
I will get to it.
I did a show yesterday talking about we had an election. The media kept it quiet. Nobody really pushed it. They didn't even push it souls to the polls like they was doing the presidential race. And I was letting people know the most important race of the year was taking place yesterday, and hardly nobody knew about it.
Yep, very low turnout.
Extremely
low.
5%.
Right. And and nobody knew about it, and they didn't promote it, they didn't talk about it. And so you got these people that's winning these races, these educational races. And one of the ladies that made it to the second round, on her Facebook page, it had that she was endorsed and sponsored by Democrat Socialists of America. And I'm sitting there like, do you know who endorsing you? Did you do your homework on these people? And so they're now invading local races where we're not paying attention to. And then when they take over everything locally, then we'll be crying.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and that's all we do is complain. We stop by the fact that there was no passionate conservative education candidate out there, so we're left as it's like, okay, in my mind, who sucks less? And then honestly, it came down, who's actually reaching across the aisle? Who's reaching over here? Who's got at least some energy, some enthusiasm, who isn't demonizing choice kids or homeschoolers and things like that? And that's why I chose Deb Kerr. Is she perfect? Heck no. But at least she's trying to reach over.
Right.
And she may just be an opportunist. I don't know. I met her one time. She seemed sincere in her eyes, and I don't know. But and it's such an important race. But this is also a failure of leadership for not recruiting a candidate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, and when you look at it, I think most people doesn't get involved in races that to them is not important, or they don't really want to fight, because some races you really got to fight, for example, we as conservative, we'll never win Milwaukee if we never invest in Milwaukee. We will never win it. And so what we do is we just let them have Milwaukee while we're steady allowing them to have Milwaukee. That's the problem that I have with our side. We won't invest in the largest city of our state, and we put no interest into it to take it over. I mean, we should be able to take it over. It's not that we don't have. Go ahead.
See, and I think this is something, Limbaugh's even talked about, many times over the years, that as conservatives, what we've ended up doing is we end up acquiescing areas when they start being taken over from the left. Academia being one of them, K through 12 education, higher education, entertainment, music, a lot of different things. And that's a big reason why, the left control culture. Andrew Breitbart said it best, politics is downstream of culture. And we have failed in that particular arena for decades on that. Maxine Waters last month was talking about how if we don't convict Trump, then Trump is going to go ahead and take over the little towns and all this other stuff. And what she was really doing was laying out the Democrat playbook, because that's exactly what they have done year after year, election after election. And Limbaugh's pointed this out time and time again, but he also mentioned too that why would any good person really want to run for office? I mean, when you think about all the crap that you got to put up with, they're going to dissect your life, any little minor infraction that you may have had, any little mistake that you may have done, big mistake, whatever, years gone back, you're going to drag that up and make that a present day situation. I certainly understand why
they're going to make crap up about you too.
Right. So you can certainly understand why people don't want to run, because it's like, yeah, why do I got to put up with this? And as conservatives, we tend to be very individualistic versus say collectivists like the left are. The left are very collectivist, and they will circle the wagons like no other.
Yeah. And what we have to do is this. We already know they're going to do that. So if you smoke weed before, just tell it yourself. I used to smoke weed. If and then they have to make up stuff. And I always tell people this: if they lying on you, you ain't got to defend a lie. If it's true, then you got to defend the truth. But if it's a lie, But here's the thing about it. I get mad because of the fact that I remember, and Paris, you remember this when I was running for Congress, and we had a primary. Now, I went to D.C. and I met with Newt Gingrich. I met with the NRA. I met with the Republican Party. I met with the think tanks. I went in the think tanks, and when I got to the think tanks, I told them their number was wrong, and they told me our numbers is not wrong. I said, yes, your number's wrong. They said, prove it. I said, your numbers shows a black Democrat, a lefty, versus a white conservative. Show me your numbers where you got a strong black conservative versus a black liberal. You don't have those numbers. And they said, you're right. Now, here's the sad part about it. And I know we wanted to keep David Clark, but we rather allow Gwen Moore to stay Congresswoman instead of taking her out, getting her out the way, to the fact that we pick and choose what battle we really gonna fight. Now, when I left Washington, everybody said, get past the primary and we got you. We'll pour money in, we'll support. It was the same time that David Clark was running for sheriff. So all the Republicans, instead of David Clark running as a Republican, all the Republicans crossed over and voted
right
in a Democrat primary, left me out there to dry.
So you couldn't, so they couldn't vote, because in Wisconsin you can't vote in once you vote for one race in one party, you have to stay in the same party for all the remaining races, and you can't. So, but getting back to someone like Rush Limbaugh, he started calling attention to stuff like this years ago, and it was falling on deaf ears. Everybody, would do lip service, but no one would actually do anything about it. And we had the same thing in Milwaukee, where they, for years, and I kept begging, why don't we have a Republican Party location on Martin Luther King Drive, or in another one on Chavez Drive? Why aren't we where we need to pick up voters? We've got the choir. We got to stop singing to the choir. We need other people to come in and listen to the music.
Well, and Paris, when what we did was we brought in the people brought in Ben Carson, but they had him in the wrong place. Why not have Ben Carson go into the inner city and let people hear his story? We had Joe the Plumber. We had him in the wrong place. Why we didn't have Joe the Plumber in the inner city talking to people who has a business like him, and so that they can relate to what he was talking about. We take them way out, and talk, like you say, sing to the choir, but not bring them into the inner city who can relate. What did Ben Carson say? I was a belt buckle away from going to prison. People need to hear those kind of stories.
Yeah, I still remember the story you told me about young David King misbehaving in school, and your dad getting a phone call. And what was that? Your dad said, "Don't worry, he'll be cured in the morning."
My daddy said, "Oh, see, you bringing up some flashbacks because I'm having drama now." But I remember I couldn't sit down in class. I was clowning. I was doing all my stuff that I wanted to do. Teacher told me, "Sit down, or I'm gonna call your daddy." I said, "Call him. He ain't gonna do nothing." My daddy got the call, said, "Don't worry about it. He'll be cured in the morning." And guess what? When he got done with me, I was cured. He never got that phone call again. But one of the things that I said on my show yesterday is we allow these people, we vote them in, and then they make laws that tie parents' hands. Now, parents can't discipline their kids because of the fact that the child abuse law is so broad, there's no difference between abuse and discipline.
Oh, I'll discipline a child. Don't make no mistake about it. I'll drop kick a child into next week. I will dial 9-1, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna let you press the last one, and I need you to understand that the average response time is anywhere between 11 and 25 minutes. I need you to understand when you press that last one, how much damage can I do in that time? It's gonna be like a game. It's gonna be like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. You're gonna pick your briefcase. So you better choose wisely. I'm gonna tell you this with all the love in the heart that a daddy can have, because I will put my foot up that backside. Oh.
Wait, there's a classic. I'm going to call social services. Wait. Before we make the call, let me give them a reason to come.
Yeah.
Yes.
I told my kids, I was like, man, y'all need to try Jesus. Don't try me, because I'll fight you. I'll fight a child.
See, my
CPS is gonna be like on my door and like, do you really fight your children? All the time, yes. As a matter of fact, they pick fights with me now. Yeah, it's actually true. The young one's a ruffian.
I remember.
I think my daughter. Go ahead.
I remember my daughter. They told her at school, if your parents whoop you, call 911. And my daughter disrespected her grandmother and went somewhere. So the grandma called me. I goes, and my daughter said, you hit me on call 911. I dialed the number for her, whooped her. The police came. The police says, what's the problem? I said, my name is Pastor King. My daughter got out of line. I'll put her back in line. The police started walking back to their car and said, thank you. We need more fathers like you. My daughter went back to school and told them, y'all lied.
Wow.
Oh, well.
So, crazy stuff. You got to love these stories, and it's crazy. So here we are, all Americans, three different heritages. We all different upbringings, whatever. We all had our share of ups and downs as kids and as adults, or what real world problems.
Yep.
Why is it that when somebody is a conservative, they're automatically labeled a racist? Rush Limbaugh, racist. Donald Trump, racist. David King, racist. Why? Why does it come to that?
Because we're salmon, right? We swim upstream. We don't swim downstream. We don't drink the Kool-Aid to think the way everybody else think. And so when you start to challenge people, see, one of the things I'm finding out is when you start giving them truth and they cannot back up the truth, they have to look at something else. So they start to say racist. Okay. Yep. I was even called, now watch this. I was sharing in a barbershop some things that Donald Trump did for the Black community. In the barbershop, I was called a white N. You fill in the blank, a white N. Now that was the first time that was the first time I ever was called a white N. And then somebody called me Uncle Tom. And I said, thank you, idiot.
Thank you.
Read a book. If you wanted to call me something, you should have called me Sambo, not Uncle Tom. But because I know they're only getting their stuff off of the internet and all, I mean, not the internet, but the TV. So the TV is teaching them, you don't stand up for yourself. You let us stand up for you. And so when you have us three background, three totally different upbringing, but we still crazy.
Yep.
And we still stand for what we believe in. But not only that, though, here's the thing that I love about it. When you understand that, and I was always taught never to be a follower.
Yep.
Be a leader. So when you're a leader, you got to think. You're a follower, you ain't got to think. You just do what everybody else do. But being a leader, you also have a target on your back for those that you're going to mess up. And as conservative, some conservatives, because some of us, let me put it this way. and this is the best way I can see it. You got a pack of lambs, a pack of sheep that is being led by a lion. Then you got a pack of lions that's being led by a sheep. Who's going to win the fight?
The pack of lambs led by a lion.
Yes, because of the mentality.
There it is.
So we have a bunch of lions that are being led by sheep. So now they scared, rise up and be who they really supposed to be in leadership. And we got, and I hate to say it, but we got some conservatives like that. They don't want the controversy. They don't want to fight. They you know, they want to try to what's that? How they say that?
Let's all just get along.
Go along to get along.
Yeah.
You know? So they, you know, and they say you stay on your side of the street and we'll stay on our side of the street. No, because if you stay on your side of the street, then all of a sudden your street gets smaller and smaller.
Yes, it does.
Because those lambs that's being led by a lion is taking your territory. So what we have to do is get new leadership in a conservative organization that is ready to fight, that's ready to move, that's ready to do some things. Yeah, you're gonna. Go ahead.
I think that's the key. Somebody who's ready to fight. I think that's what Donald Trump showed too.
Yeah.
Somebody who doesn't care what people think. He's going to do his thing, right or wrong. He was out there fighting. You have years ago, we had Newt Gingrich as Speaker of the House. He fought. Yep. You had, I mean, hell, look at Martin Luther King. He fought.
Yep.
You know, and now we have people like the Mitch McConnells of the world, or the Robin Vosses of the world, or the, you know, there are one or two promising candidates. I just lost my signal for a second. Sorry, guys.
No, you're good.
You know, we got some promising candidates for governor. I don't know which one is ready to fight. I want that. We need that. We need somebody who's going to fight. It's somebody, I guess, to lead the flock, so to speak.
Well, and we need
go back into the biblical times too. You had a leader.
Yeah, we do need that leadership, and we need that charismatic leadership that's going to be unapologetic and is going to want to fight. I think, you know, to go to your question, when you look at, you know, go back prior to 2008, 2007, generally you didn't call, you know, there wasn't that, the name calling wasn't what we see today from right and left on the everyday person level.
It's got really bad.
Oh, it's horrible. Because what we saw was, it was always in the political sphere. It was always with the elected people. And the moment that a Democrat disagreed with a Republican or vice versa, what did the Democrat do? They levied the charge of racism. And they call him a racist. You're a bigot. You're a xenophobe. So what did the Republican do? It was always, they would like take two steps back and like, no, I'm not. I got a black friend.
They got into defensive.
They got right away. Never turning the tables, never saying, no, I'm calling you out on your BS. And now move to 2008 and beyond. Now all of a sudden the average person is getting into it. Now all of a sudden it's like you're a racist. And if you're a person of color, like David King said, you know, you get called the N-word, you know, a house N, you get called a Sambo, I got called a coconut. And I'm like, what the? You're brown on the outside and white on the inside. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm good for your skin. But coconut oil, baby. Coconut oil. But the thing is, so what we have seen, and this is one of the things that I've been looking for years, especially since the Obama years, was the minority conservatives to actually come out, other than just, you know, the Larry Elders, the Candace Owens, you know, what did she call herself back in the day? Red Pill Black or something like that. Some of the other folks there, because it wasn't enough. We were just the token minority conservatives who were pretty much alone in the wilderness for the most part. And every time that a Democrat would levy that charge against of racism or something like that to someone like me, I'm like, yeah, okay, yep, I'm racist, cool, and that would throw them off. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? I mean, no, I hate everybody. Seriously, white, black, green, yellow, Mexicans, I hate them all. Give me a reason. I hate Mexicans for jumping the border. I hate Croatians because Yugoslavians don't like them, and vice versa. I hate South Americans because, well, they're not in North America. So yeah, let's just start making things up. We're playing who's saying the stupidest thing. Then since you went, it's my turn. If we're gonna do that, then let's just go all out. You know.
Why do you hate the Greeks?
Y'all did Xerxes dirty. That's all I'm saying. Y'all did Xerxes dirty.
But seriously, we've got to get to the point though. It's not just, going to get to the choir. Don't just engage the choir. We got to move beyond it. And just because we got to start having conversations with people on the other side, the ones that look like they might be reasonable. Maybe they drink the Kool-Aid a little bit. They just don't understand. But we got to start going to the other side and engaging. I think what's happening is we've become so polarized now. It's tribalism. Mm-hmm. If you're not part of my tribe, no, I'm not talking racial tribe. I'm talking in general. If you don't think the way I do, I don't want to be around you. That kind of thing. And we're getting away from the thing where we educate each other in the ways. And maybe maybe they'll make me see something that I didn't see before. I'll see something. And I keep coming back to one example I had of a guy who came into Wauwatosa and he protested and he was threatening the police, the whole works. I saw him again at a police rally, a support the police rally. He was on, they were protesting us, our side. And he had a bunch of people getting in each other's faces, yelling, screaming. It was horrible. It was accomplishing nothing. And I saw that guy. I saw him just standing there. So I went and talked to him. After about an hour of talking, we actually found a lot of common ground.
Sure.
And we had a great conversation. Didn't even realize an hour had passed. I was like, oh crap, I got to go pick up my kid.
How many of those people do you think you can actually have that conversation with? Because I think there's a lot of folks and I pray to God that you're right, because a lot of the folks on the left, and I'm going to differentiate the people on the left versus your standard Democrat, your standard liberal, because I think the people that these leftists out here, they're rabid. They are, and I've said this before, they're NPCs. They do exactly what they're told and they believe what they're told and they don't question it. They just kind of go along with the narrative and they don't want their ideas challenged, period. Whereas I think where you're disaffected liberals, you can have those conversations. They might get wrapped up in the mob, I guess, if you want to call it that, of protesting and whatnot. But you can at least, like you did, you had that conversation with this gentleman, and damn, an hour-long conversation. I bet that was a damn good one there too.
Yeah, we didn't agree on everything, but we actually found that common ground. And I think we had to quickly get to that point because what's happening, we've been divided so much. Mm-hmm. We're losing we're losing that fabric, that kind of synergy. I guess what it means to be American. We're losing that. We're losing that. We don't have, like, you go to France, their unifying bond is the French language and the French culture. We're losing the American culture, the American language, the patriotic side and all that stuff, because we're losing, like we had on September 12th, 2001. Yeah. The day after September 11th. Everybody, there were flags everywhere. Everybody was unified. You even had George W. Bush hugging, what was that guy's name? Tom Daschle on the floor of the Senate. They were hugging. They were all friends for a moment. We had a glimmer of hope. Maybe I'm being too idealistic, but that's the one thing.
Perry, I'm sorry, but Perry, that it's a reality. You can have those conversations. You can, you have a person that's. You have a person. I was just reading that. But you got a person that that's on the left that haven't been all the way in and hold that conversation about what's going on in the community, what's about their kids being safe, about their kids' education. about a better community. You can have those conversations, and they'll be willing to meet you in the middle with that kind of conversation. But when you having these conversations off the Janet Jackson song, "What Have You Done for Me Lately?" and
Mm-hmm.
then and our side only can say, "Well, we freed the slaves." Okay, what have you done besides that? Tell
Well,
tell us something. Tell us something
Mm-hmm.
else besides that. Because here's what they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Right.
right.
So
How many
the
slaves did
reason
you
the
free?
reason the left got in, right? But and the reason the left got in because the left went into the communities and fed some families. So they don't want to know
Mm-hmm.
how much you know until they know how much you care, even though they didn't really care, but they went
Right.
in and they showed
They
false
engaged.
love, and they helped out, and yeah, they engage. And see, our side, we won't even engage. So here's the thing about it. If if you was in a relationship with a woman, every time you brought her around me and Ed, and you showing love, you being lovey-dovey with her, we say, oh, parents really love her. But then when you get at home, you abusing her, and then when she come to me and Ed and say, he's abusing us, we gonna say, that ain't what we see.
Right.
Mhm.
We see him love you, right? So when you got the left feeding them and saying the Republicans and the conservatives, they're prejudiced. Why they not in your neighborhood? Why they not trying to help
Mm-hmm.
you? Why they not trying to do something? So when they hear these kind of things and they be like, yeah, why haven't y'all? And the only thing we come out of our mouth, well, we freed the slaves. They be like, you ain't did nothing
Well,
for us.
yeah, and they made it. Let's be honest. They make it sound like, yeah, we freed the slaves and everything was perfect. No,
No.
it was a living hell for generations. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it was rough. It
Well, I think
was rough.
Oh yeah,
I think there's a double-edged sword too, though, when it comes to doing things for the community versus not doing things. Because when just take a look at during this last election cycle, was there a Republican office, I think, over there on, I want to say it was on Mitchell Street. They got vandalized, if I recall correctly. You know, so I
on
think
MLK.
it was on
Yeah, on
MLK.
King Drive, right?
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah,
and I apply this to the business world too, when they say, well, you're not investing in our communities. Well, I always go back to, well, why am I going to invest in your community when the last time you got upset about something, you ended up burning our store down? No, I'm not going to invest in your community if you're going to keep this stuff up. I've already done it 3 times. You're out. So I can certainly understand that. I think one of the things that we miss on the conservative side of things that the liberals do very good is they tell a story and they weave the story really good. They do it in such a way that it pulls at the heartstrings. And when they do the food drives and all this other stuff, like you said, they appeal to emotion that way. Conservatives are all we do for the most part. We talk facts, and facts all day long. Most folks don't. And I'm not saying this to say that most folks are ignorant, but most folks don't have that level of understanding to process the amount of facts that you're throwing at them to the same way that any one of the 3 of us do, because we kind of immerse ourselves into that. So for us to talk that, cool, we can do that. But are we weaving the story with the facts in there? And I would argue that we're not
yeah.
doing that.
Right. And here's the thing about it. Putting the office there was a great idea. The timing was wrong. They should have put it there before the election and
Mm-hmm.
engaged in the community, not giving out handouts, but giving hand-ups, giving them a way to be self-sufficient. And let them know this is our way. You can have your own, do some business classes, do anything
Yeah.
before the election, because now the left is saying, see, they just here to try to sucker y'all in the voting where was they at before this? You know, so we should have been engaging in the community before election. So when we put the office there, we could have just turned that same place of training into an office.
Right. Where were you at 2017, 2018?
Yeah.
Yes.
What was the common thing that you hear anybody who is who happens to be black, who is now a conservative? The most common thread out there. It's they say, "Well, damn, I didn't even know I was a conservative," because the only message they're getting is the other side, because they're not hearing from us, and that's that's the kind of thing. So, you know, and then Mary Goodman, and then they got ignorant crap like this. Did you see what Biden says when in Milwaukee about Hispanics and blacks not being able to understand how to use the internet to sign up for COVID vaccine? I mean, that's like saying that blacks and Hispanics are smart enough to go get a driver's license or voter ID. I would be offended if someone said that about me. You know, it's like they're calling people incompetent to their faces, and everybody's saying, yes, please, I want to vote for you.
I want to thank you, Paris, for setting up this internet connection for both me and David King, since apparently we're too damn dumb to know how to operate the internet. We you know, I got my AOL CD somewhere, and it might be near my cup holder by my computer. I don't know, but thank you for at least helping a couple brothers out here.
I do have to say, though, I do have more hair.
Hey, you really do. And you know, here's the thing. This is the part.
He's got hair for all three of us. You know that, right?
Where the brainwash. This is where the brainwash come in. Because if Trump would have made a statement like that, the media would have been all over it.
Yep, exactly.
But now that he said it, it was like nothing. Like, oh my God, we're that feeble now. We're so feeble that we can't even turn a computer on, and we got a smartphone. So even having a smartphone, we ain't smart enough to get on the internet.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, I mean, what is it? If you think about it, you know, and I often say we have the Library of Alexandria in our hands, but because these algorithms are so finely tuned, you can go on YouTube, and if I start looking up, let's just say, stories from the Matrix, right? All I'm going to get through the algorithm is recommended videos for the Matrix. I won't realize that there's a whole world of other topics out there, from prepping to black nationalism to conservatism to origami. I won't know that unless I search for it. You know, and it's amazing because we tend to stick to the things that we want.
There's a show. There's a show on Netflix. It's called The Social Dilemma. Watch it. It's not partisan, but it talks about what you're just talking about, Ed, how we're being fed what we're supposed to hear, what we're supposed to think, and stuff like that. And that's exactly. And what happened with the whole Trump thing, it became elevated to such a level. Now everybody's on to them. Oh my gosh. What? Oh, Facebook is sharing my information? I had no idea. It's like, you ignorant fool. You're putting your information on the internet. Where do you think it's going? Right. People are acting like they're shocked. I can't believe it.
And they don't realize that all this information you put, don't get on the internet and look for a car, because all you getting is car advertisement. So they already know. I mean, it's no brainer. Why you think your phone is getting all of this stuff? It's a no brainer. You put this out there. They didn't know you was looking for a car until you got on the internet.
Yep. All I know is that
looking for an apartment until you got on the internet.
That's why Ed's getting notifications about how to be a real woman.
It's true. It's true. I searched up some A&E 90-Day Fiance thing, and next thing you know, I'm getting like, you ought to see my timeline. The commercials are nuts.
All right, guys. Well, I'm kind of winding down here for the night, but any final thoughts on Rush Limbaugh or anything, Mr. Ed?
All I can say is thank you, Rush Limbaugh, for everything you've done. Rest in peace. You were certainly a pillar of the conservative movement, and we will all have to work that much harder. But the best part about it, though, is he gave us the blueprint, and we know what to do going forward. And it's just going to double our resolve at this point.
All right, Brother David. Thoughts on Mr.
I
Limbaugh?
just want to say rest in peace. Just want to say rest in peace. And, you fought a good fight. We're still here. We're going to fight even harder. And I guarantee you, your work will not be in vain.
Yeah. And that's exactly how we got to keep pressing on. There's too many people out there ready to give up on America. I'm not ready to give up yet. So
not yet.
I don't think with it. Nah, I think we can. We've had our bad times in history. We've had our good times in history, and it's a cycle. I guess sometimes you got to let things get bad so you realize how good you have it. So
that's kind of true.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining.
Thank you, kindly, sir.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll have you guys again.
Thank you.
All right.
Good night.
And I will watch your show, David. So I have it on my list. So, before I get on your list,
it's already on your page.
I know. I know. I saw you shared it with me. All right. All right.
Good night, gentlemen.
Good night, guys. Yep. Bye.
Good night.
All right. And remove. All right. So that was Ed Delgado and David King joining me tonight. We were talking about Rush Limbaugh. He was loved. He was hated, but he was influential no matter how you cut it. He will be missed. And I thank you, Rush Limbaugh, for all the things you did for us. I hope you're out there watching. Maybe you can have some influence on some people from the great beyond. We don't know. And it's almost humbling to see how someone who was effectively facing a death sentence and he still continued to fight. He never gave up on us. So we can't give up on ourselves. I think there are good days to come. I promise you. But we got to work hard to get it. We'll never give up. All right. Well, I'll be back on the air again soon. The next week or two are going to be a little crazy because I'm going to be in the process of relocating and everything. So everything's going to be, so I'll get on when I can. I might do some on-the-spot things from the car, something like that. Let's see if I'm seeing anything else. Oh yeah, Nancy Pelosi is going back to Capitol Hill. She's on her way back there right now. All right, so we'll be going for our spring impeachment coming soon. All right. And let's not forget that Bernie Sanders is out there getting sun. But in all seriousness, no, thank you, Rush Limbaugh. January 12th, 1951. And I'll remember this day forever because today would have been my mother's 77th birthday, February 17th, 1943. But, Rush was 70 years old. You really have to realize how precious life is. You got to take care of yourselves, take care of your body. And you know what? You got to take some time to laugh. Too many people are just way too serious. Laugh, enjoy life. Get out there. Yeah, it's snowed out. It's cold. Put a jacket on, put some gloves on and go out into the fresh air, no matter how cold it is. Or down in, southern tip of Florida where it's hotter than heck out there. Get out there. Enjoy life. Say hi to your kids. Say hi to your parents before they're gone. Even if they are gone, here you can still say hi to them. So have an awesome night. And thank you, Rush Limbaugh, for everything you did. Rest in peace. And everybody else, I'll be back soon. Stay in touch and share my show, please. It helps me. I'd love to have the influence that Rush Limbaugh has. Hopefully some people will believe in me like they believed in him someday. You never know. All right. Have a good, awesome night. Talk to you soon. Bye.